What was that? Sean Hancock and Chance Shaw going back? You already talking about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about that all night.
Chance hit me up today about that. He was like, dude, I thought we were friends. And I'm like, no, I wasn't throwing jabs at you. I was like, I was just giving my opinion that I think bands are stupid.
I can shed a lot of light on that if you guys want to know. Like,
please do.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get my lip balm on. Hold on, man.
The platform is yours.
Hey, let's go.
Look, we all been around.
Here we go.
We've all been around. We know what has transpired with WAF, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone on this feed right now, or anyone probably watching this feed, has been a WAF athlete. Maybe one or two, but I'm not. I have never competed in WAF. I would love to. It's a bucket list thing, right? I'd also love to compete in IFA. There was a rift that happened, what was it, 4 years ago, where the way I understand it, WAF basically said, we're dividing from PAL or whatever. I don't even understand the entities, but the division happened, and that's where the bans came. The bans came from WAF to IFA athletes, which IFA is an alternative route to Worlds and an alternative route to professional competition. This happened way before any of us had anything to do with anything. But sadly, WAF has a very large reach, which East versus West and most European competitors are under the WAF umbrella because that is where they compete. They may only compete 3 or 4 times a year at most.
Yeah.
So there is a level of autocracy there where they're the big fish. They are the closest thing to the Olympics. And an IFA is branched off in a pseudo alternative aspect, which is partnered up with PAL and has partnered up over here in the United States. And the bans happened years ago, and the threats of the bans. There are no U.S. promoters, speaking of Chance, who are promoting or facilitating any bans. We don't care. No one cares.
Yeah.
So we're partnered up with East versus West, which is under the WAF umbrella, but that is not anything to do with us at all because none of us are even WAF athletes. We're just I feel for Chance in that people are asking him questions. What happens if I compete here? Can I compete here? What happens if I compete there? And he's just delivering the bad news. And I get it. Okay, where is your allegiance? This isn't even allegiance based. It's like something so far above pay grades that there's nothing can be done.
So say the average guy, say I went and, I'm not average, but say I went and competed at IFA. Does that prevent me from pulling at an East versus West or from winning or from being considered, you know what I mean, for going to the next level or something? Or can people just compete at both if they're just a lower level and it doesn't matter?
And honestly, I would if I told you I knew the exact details to it, then I would be lying to you.
Yeah, okay.
But I know that if you compete at a certain level at IFA and maybe a world level, that you can go to a qualifier, you can win a qualifier, whatever, But if you win the whole thing, WAF can step in and say you're an IFA affiliate. We always try and use that precursor.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with us. It's just hey, we got this great East versus West brand, King of the Table, Core Sports and stuff. We want everybody to have an opportunity to compete, but it's up to people to choose what they want to do. And I was very close at one point to going to IFA Nationals because it was local, or not Nationals, but Worlds. And then I thought about it on the back end, whoa, would I have had this held against me later on? It's crazy. Probably. It's crazy. Right. I don't support it one bit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me go. Let's start off by saying this. One of the problems, God, we got so many problems, right? One of the problems is that when you have 2 nationals in one goddamn country, there's an issue right there.
We got 5.
Yeah, there's a shitload of them.
That's one of the problems. But only 2 of them will lead you to a world event, whether it be IFA or WAF. And it's going, okay, again, it all depends on what that puller wants to do. What is your path? What is your goal? Right? So if you want to do East versus West, cool. If you want to, knock on that door, this is what I want to do, you have that path. And I know I said this on the show last week in my show, Paul. I told people with all these different organizations now coming up, we've had the second big boom in the last, 11 years? I think the last one was when Game of Arms came out, there was an influx. COVID hit, and then when we got, open the Go Barrels, it influxed again. And now that brought on the reboot of Armed Wars. Armed Gods came out of that. AWC, AWE, Knuckles Up, the Montana Armbender. You got the boys in Texas with the Flash Pin production. So you got all that kind of stuff going on. Hell, the Florida Armwrestling League. So you got different leagues and stuff that, I don't have to be recognized or to be, compete at a pretty high level. I don't have to go one path. I can choose to go here if I want to. And I think when you really want that gold medal and, you take that path, all the training, with your team, by yourself, whatever, all that stuff you put in just for them to say no blows my mind.
Yep. Let me ask a question, your opinion, the people here. I asked somebody earlier today, and I said, okay, if you had the WAF World Champions and the IFA World Champions, and they had a match between those two groups, who would win? And the person told me, oh, definitely WAF, but because they have the Azerbaijanis, the Georgians, the Eastern Europeans, that, they have a limited number of countries, but they really take care of the ones that, like the Georgians, who are the real powerhouses. And so for that reason, they would, basically you get a higher level of competition at WAF. Do you think that is true?
I'll take the first one on this. Here's the problem. Reason why the Team USA has a small group when they go to WAF, because our studs in the sports and studettes, if you may, they've been there, done that. Ron Bath has a WAF title. Travis, WAF title. Right? Dave Chafee, WAF title. They've been there, done that. When you get to a point where when WAL came out and they realized, wow, I can win this much money and still stay in my own country and I ain't got to fly across the pond, and still have high, expectations of myself and high competition, why would I? And now you're in a situation where, East versus West, why do I want to go do WAF where I can go ahead and be recognized as one of the top guys in my weight class under the, I guess we could say Ingen banner. That's why, it's like, we don't need to send our guys. They're staying right here, or they got that path to go to East versus West or King of the Table, still get recognized at a higher level and not break the bank, because at some point that stuff costs money. And, and I understand where some people are coming from. Maybe you can't find $5,000 underneath your couch cushions, but it happens,
To me, the biggest part of that is, like, most of what you're saying is spot on, Jody. I think the biggest part of that is the countries that are competing in WAF largely have no other opportunities to compete. They have their nationals that gets them to WAF. And then they usually, most of the bigger ones that are good at arm wrestling have government sponsorships and government subsidies to send them there on the government's dollar. Where the United States, look, we got to spend $5,000 probably in travel and hotels for a 4-day event. Like, guys are not as willing to do that when we're coming out of the bar. We're coming out of the bar tournament. We're not willing to spend that money. Not to mention, we also have a much larger media presence. So because we have a larger social media presence, we have accessibility to notoriety that sometimes may not be warranted for our level, which has been exposed at East versus West, that we are not there yet, Now, when it comes to, Dave, your question about WAF versus IFA, most categories, most genders, and most ages, WAF is going to dominate IFA. WAF is going to dominate IFA because they're the longer standing organization. IFA is new. IFA is a new concept that's growing. Like, we can't expect IFA athletes and IFA world champions to be able to compete with WAF world champions right now.
You know what I like too is like the other factors, like Monster Factory, Knuckles Up coming out.
Yeah,
some homegrown things that you can go to and be showcased on a cool stage that's local to some people. And it's not at the same level as maybe East versus West and WAF and all that, but like, man, Knuckles Up's production is up there with the best of them. Like, those guys put on a real fucking good production, which is 100%. Really cool.
And that's the beauty of it too. And like to what Jody's saying, we have those opportunities here where those Eastern European players don't have it. They have to go to WAF. That's where their country's going to recognize them and love them.